So you're here watching this video looking for hope, looking for another solution to help you to break this pattern. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is one mistake that you're making that you need to know about, that I did not know about. When I was binge eating for 15 years, I didn't understand this one mistake that you're making that I'm going to share with you. And then I'm going to invite you into a call with me, one-on-one, a deep dive Thrive Breakthrough Call. Hi, my name is Patrick Jones. I'm the founder of Thrive Beyond Recovery, creator of the I Thrive lifestyle. I'm a certified eating psychology coach, best-selling author, and I help men and women just like yourself who struggle with binge eating break the unhealthy binge eating pattern in a matter of days. And I teach them how to thrive in all areas of life so you can be present for yourself, connect with yourself, so you can be there for those that matter most. So you can live life not eating to live, but living to eat, and looking at food and saying, this food nourishes me. This food I love because I love myself. So you're watching this video and somehow you found me, and I'm glad you did, because I was just like you. I was hopeless. I didn't know if I would ever stop binge eating. See, from 2000 until 2015, I was a chronic binge eater. I defined my identity as somebody who binge ate, somebody who had to throw up their food just to cope with the feelings of shame and guilt. And I didn't want to deal with life. And when I was a kid, I learned these habits of overeating. I learned these habits of throwing my food up. I learned that this is how my life is. This is how I have to be. I didn't know any other way. And it spilled into college. It spilled into hiding, living a lie, and telling everyone that I was okay when I wasn't okay. I wasn't okay. I was sad. I was depressed. I was in pain. I stole food from grocery stores when I didn't have any money because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to deal with me. Does that sound like you at all? Does that sound like where you're at right now, in a place of feeling hopeless, a place of feeling stuck, a place where you're desperate, where you're living in scarcity, the scarcity mindset of not knowing if you're gonna get through the day? Look, I get it. I get where you're at. And if you can relate in any way, I'm going to tell you right now, there is a new way. There is a way out. There is a way to thrive beyond where you're at. See, in 2015, I came to this place. And I came to this place where I had to make a decision. See, that year, I had been diagnosed with something called keratoconus, which is an eye disease. And throughout that 6 months, I became legally blind. In fact, I had to go on disability. And that was something I looked forward to. Why? Sounds crazy, but here's why. Because it gave me permission to binge eat. Binge eat, get the press, collect the check, and check out and numb out. And not have to deal with life, deal with my wife, my kids, my spouse. So it gave me this permission. But then again, I was faced with a decision that I had to ask myself the question and challenge my thinking. Is this how I'm going to live the rest of my life? Is this truly what I want? Is this the life that I want to have? See, it was at that point I made a decision and said, you know what? I'm going to get this eye surgery. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to wake up and get into reality because my current reality is not working. And so I did that. I started making and seeking who can help me, how can help me. I started researching. And then I decided it was at a point where I was binging and purging in my car 5 times a day, 5 times sometimes in an hour. I found myself at a breaking point of this was it. Enough is enough. I created an immersion experience and broke the pattern. But then the challenge was this. I came back and I didn't know how to live. Nobody taught me how to deal with my wife. Nobody taught me how to deal with my relationships with my kids. Nobody taught me how to live life, how to connect with myself, how to have a deep spiritual connection with myself. Nobody taught me how to have a healthier relationship with food. I was left on my own. And I had to learn a new way to live. I had to learn how to thrive in life. And I share this with you because I want you to know that I was you. I was you. I was exactly where you're at, wherever you're dealing with. And you're watching this video right now because you want to get out of your current reality and get into a desired reality. And that's what I'm going to talk about today is the number one mistake that you're making right now that is keeping you stuck where you are in your current reality and not allowing you to cross the threshold and thrive in life. And so there's 3 things that I want you to do in this video while watching and after this video. Number 1 is I want you to simply watch this whole video, because there's one mistake that you're making right now that I want to share with you, that if you stop making this mistake, you will get on your path to cross the threshold and thrive in life. The second thing is scheduling a call with me. If you feel compelled, if you feel that you're ready to break the cycle and thrive in all areas of life, then I invite you into a call with me. You just scroll below, put your info inside there, and schedule a Thrive Breakthrough call with me. We're going to help map out a plan of action using what I'm going to teach you here so you can thrive in life and break the pattern in a matter of days. The third thing I want you to do is check out the testimonials. I've helped so many people. In fact, this year alone, 2019, hundreds of people help them break the pattern, live a new way, and thrive in life. And I want you to scroll below just a couple people that I've helped. I want you to see results of people just like you. Let's jump into what the one biggest mistake you're making is that's keeping you stuck in your current reality and not allowing you to cross the threshold and thrive in life. You ready? Okay, here's what it is. It's your thinking. It is your thinking, your thought process, and your stories that you're believing to be true. That's it. Yes. The only thing in your way is your thinking. It's not your fault. No one, again, has ever trained you and taught you how to master your mindset, how to master your mind and have mental mastery and create the life you want by creating a new story, which creates a new behavior. So what I do know is somewhere right now you're defining yourself a certain way, whether it's as a binge eater, as an overeater, as an undereater, restrictor, whatever it might be. That person that you define yourself by is created from a story that you're believing about yourself, that you're believing to be true. What if it was possible that you ask yourself a question, what about this story is true? And then ask yourself the question, what would be possible if this story wasn't true? So there's one point with a client I was working with her on the phone. We were doing actually a deep dive Thrive Breakthrough call. Again, you're invited to get on a call. Just click below with me. We'll map out a plan together. But we were on a call and I asked her the question, what is the story that you're telling yourself about binge eating? And she said to me this, I have to binge eat because it's the only way. And I asked her then the question, what might be possible if that thought wasn't true? Well, if it wasn't possible that she has to binge eat and it's the only way, then the other reality is simply that she doesn't have to binge eat and there's another way, right? There's another way beyond that thought. So the only thing in the way of you getting from your current reality to your desired reality is challenging your thinking. Challenging your current reality of the thoughts that you're believing to be true about yourself, your identity, and who you are today. And when you can challenge yourself enough and challenge your mindset, challenge the thoughts and stories you're having by first acknowledging what they are and not denying with the stories, but then creating new empowering stories that will actually give you what you want, I'm telling you right now, in a matter of days, the folks that I work with, the clients that I work with, they have dramatic shifts and inner shifts inside of them to shift them to create a new reality, this desired reality, simply because all they did was master their thinking. There were times when I would drive home from a gym that I was working at as a personal trainer and as a nutritionist, and I'd find myself driving home, and on the way home, I would think, not even knowing I was thinking, but I would think about dealing with my kids. I have 5 kids, and I would think about dealing with them unconsciously, and then automatically I would go home and stop at the gas station and spend $20 on binge food, and then I would purge it out in the bathroom and not tell anybody, and then I would go home. Like, this automatic habit came in play for me because the trigger was in my mind. It was unconscious. But then there were also triggers where I'd be home with my wife and we'd get into an argument, but before the argument can even happen, like, I would just stop like immediately and escape and run to the gas station and say, I can't deal with you. I can't deal with you or deal with the kids. I have to cool off, and I go to the gas station. That could have been a trigger for me. So what is a trigger for you? Like, what gets you triggered right now? Because what gets you triggered emotionally, whether it's feeling shame or guilt or a situation or a circumstance. That's where we start with being stuck. And then what happens though, this is the crazy thing, is that there's a feeling that happens inside of you that's not comfortable. It wasn't for me. It's not comfortable. So you feel those feelings of guilt, of whatever, even happiness. There were times that I was happy in my situation. My wife was giving me what I wanted. Our relationship was actually getting along. I got a new job. I got a promotion, whatever it might have been. Doesn't matter. I still would binge eat because that was the trigger. So is that happening for you? And where is that happening for you right now? Where right now are you getting triggered? Because that's where we start. And so the problem is that our triggers become the enemies. Like we're afraid to get triggered. I was afraid to get triggered. And you might be afraid to get triggered. You might be afraid to get triggered or unconsciously triggered, because when you get triggered, we go right to the binge eating. And I get it. Binge eating happens. Eating your fear foods, your forbidden foods, the foods that you normally not supposed to have. That you're supposed to have, by the way, as a normal eater. There's foods you're supposed to have, but this is what happens in the cycle, is we get stuck. We get triggered, we binge eat, and then we have what I call a scarcity lift. A scarcity lift. We actually do something out of scarcity to shift and change because we don't want to stay stuck where we are. I know for me, and I was going to point over here, I know for me, I must have sought out so many different people, from a therapist to diet therapist to Overeaters Anonymous. I went to a psychic once or twice, actually probably 3 times in 1 year. I went to hypnosis. I went to EFT to do tapping. I went to so many different resources and things and people and programs and put all my energy, put all my money into them. Where have you done that for yourself? Where right now are you inside right now possibly a scarcity lift of you're not binge eating, but you're doing something and hopeful that this will be the next thing that works. Hopeful that this is going to be the next transformation that happens. And knowing that, look, this may not work. Like in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I don't know if this is going to work. And you're in this scarcity mindset. And what happens, and the problem about being in a scarcity mindset, is that you believe that you're actually changing. You believe that you're actually getting results and that the binge eating pattern is over. Let's get real. That is the most dangerous place to be. The struggle. What happens to you when you're struggling and you're believing it's working? I don't know about you, but for me, when I was there, everything was good. For months, I wouldn't be binge eating. Months. And then I would find myself in some way, shape, or form eating once a month and binge eating. But I didn't call it a binge. I called it overeating, or I called it permission to eat a half of a birthday cake because it's my son's party. But I was lying to myself and hiding unconsciously because of the stories I was telling myself. Again, it goes back to the stories. The stories I'm believing when I'm struggling are that nothing is wrong, everything is okay. I'm not binge eating like I used to, so it's okay. It's justifying. See, again, it goes back to the thinking, and the deeper healing occurs and happens to get from this current reality to this desired reality when you can actually master your thinking. Now, knowing all of this, knowing that when you're struggling, when you're feeling alone, when you're disconnected with the world, but you're thinking everything is fine, you go back into the cycle. Do you get that? You go back into the cycle because something triggers you. There was a point for me, I lived in, my wife and I were separated in, I think, 2011 or 12, many years ago, many years ago. And I had escaped and moved out because I thought that doing that was going to make myself better. I was going to live a new life. I was going to stop binge eating. I was going to get myself together. Meanwhile, I found myself inside of a program. I was trying to do TV hosting, and I auditioned for this TV host for this infomercial that was for a product, this fitness product. And I remember I didn't get hired because they said I was overweight, and I didn't look good on camera. So that triggered me then, and I said, you know what? Can I participate? So they allowed me to participate in the program, and they gave me meal plans to have. So they gave me a specific meal plan, and it was a diet meal plan. And they also said to me, this was the biggest trigger of all. I didn't even know it was a trigger, but they said to me that the person that loses the most weight in 7 days gets, I think it was like $1,000. At the time, I needed the money. So guess what I did? Me, as a personal trainer, as a sports nutritionist, as a yoga teacher, I knew how to lose weight quickly. But yet, I was out of the cycle. I'd broken the cycle. I thought I broke the cycle. I was in a false lift. I'd done all these things. I was taking medication. I was seeing a therapist, doing all the regular things. And then I found myself dieting and restricting and starving myself for 7 days. And then I found myself 7 days later losing 10 pounds, the most out of anyone there. But then I found myself binge eating again, back in the cycle. What happens is if you don't master, again, your thinking, don't master and do the healing work necessary to actually break this cycle and to not go from emotional trigger to binge eating to scarcity lift, doing things from hiring a therapist, diet programs, doing things out of scarcity, not by conscious choice, and thinking it's working, and then emotional trigger comes up again, some situation, and you find yourself back binging again. Where is that going on for you right now? And are you ready to shift that? Are you ready to shift from this reality into a desired reality by simply mastering your thinking? Are you ready? And if you're ready to do that, again, jump into a call with me. Just click below. Let's talk more. I'm going to customize a plan for you. But I want to talk about this desired reality, because this is the current reality. It's being stuck here. The current reality is you not changing, not believing that change is even possible. What if the current state you're in is a temporary state and you just haven't learned a new way, a new path to cross this threshold here, to cross over here, to create a new way to live? I call this the gap. So this is the gap. How do we cross the gap to create this reality? Well, I'm going to share what that is for you in a second here, but I want you to understand is the current problem and the potential possibility is for you to actually look forward to your triggers. Yes, looking forward to triggers. I know it sounds crazy, but looking forward to your triggers so that you can use your triggers and emotions to actually use that as fuel for action to getting what you truly want. This is what I teach my clients inside of my programs. This is when I'm working with them one-on-one. I teach them how to actually use your triggers to get what you want in life, to create the life what you want. See, the problem is this, is that most people that binge eat focus on, because I used to do this, focus on the problem. And they don't focus on actually what they want. Like if I were to ask you the question, what do you actually want? What do you want? What kind of life do you desire? What kind of life do you want inside your relationships, your health, inside of beyond this problem? Like it's very hard to define what we actually want because we're stuck inside this current reality. But what if we can create a life we want every single day by using your emotions not to go to food with as comfort, but to use them as fuel for action? And the second thing, second possibility is mental mastery. As I said to you, what if you can master your thinking and create the life you want by changing the story that you have today? Changing who you are, and that's number 3, is changing your identity. What if we could change your identity in a matter of hours and days? There's individuals inside my programs that in a matter of just 24 hours, they are not the same person as they were on day number 1. Why? Because we're literally changing who they are. They're changing who they are themselves. They're changing their identity from changing their stories and mastering the current story, removing it and changing to a new story by creating a new identity. It's possible. And it doesn't have to happen in weeks, months. You don't have to spend the next 15 years of your life stuck. This is your current reality where you feel stuck. And this is your desired reality of what you truly actually want, the life you want beyond where you're at. But the problem is that we don't have the right system in place to get to that desired reality. And again, when we struggle, we feel alone. When you're hiding, when you're lying, you're isolating, you feel like whatever you're doing is working, but it only works for a month, a week, a day, and you're in that place of struggling, of hungry, of dieting, dealing with life, and then all of a sudden the trigger happens again and you're back in the cycle. It's because you truly have not crossed the gap. We've come to the end of the video. You've made it this far. And what that tells me about you is that you're a person that is actually committed to doing something about this, that's committed to taking the next step, and someone that's willing to do whatever is required to get what they want. You're not alone. You're not stuck where you are. You didn't wake up as a baby and they didn't say you're going to become a binge eater for the rest of your life. Like, there's another reality that's just simply waiting for you. What you've done in the past just simply hasn't worked. It just simply hasn't worked simply because it wasn't a complete system to get you from where you are to where you want to go. Not just break the cycle and create an experience that's a pattern in it, but actually teach you how to thrive. Teach you how to break down your belief patterns that are holding you back, because the problem is not the food, it's not the thinking. And notice I didn't even talk about the food here. And all my clients tell me that it's not about the food. Like, I don't talk about the food until later in the program. The point here is it's about the thinking and mastering your thinking, mastering your emotions. Let me ask you a question. Are you ready to break the pattern? Are you ready to get out of this crazy, vicious, unhealthy, painful, depressing, losing out on life cycle? Are you ready? Are you ready to step into a new possibility, a life that's waiting for you? Are you ready to start thriving in your relationships with other people? Are you ready to be connected to yourself spiritually? Are you ready to live your true purpose in life and live passionately? When you wake up in the morning, you have dominating thoughts of love, thoughts of, I cannot wait to get through the day. I cannot wait to be connected to other people. I cannot wait to talk to this person, because you're free from all the obsessive thoughts of food. You're not worrying about what you're going to eat. You're not afraid to eat certain foods because you're able to eat everything right in front of you, because you have become a normal eater. You've created that new identity, and now you're thriving in life. If you want that possibility, if you want that life, let's schedule a call. I want to invite you into a deep dive Thrive call, where I'm going to work with you one-on-one on the phone, and we're going to create that reality to happen. I'm going to create your own customized plan and expose your own gap and create specific action steps of things that you need to do in order to get to this side. And we're going to create what this life looks like for you specifically inside of this call. I'm going to create this reality for you. We're going to paint the whole picture, and then we're going to create a massive action plan in each of these 5 areas to thrive. Now is the time to scroll below and schedule that call with me. So I'm going to leave you with this. What is the cost? What's the cost? The cost to stay exactly where you are and do nothing. To stay where you are, to just watch this video and go back into the binge eating cycle, to go back into the struggle, doing a scarcity lift and hiring a therapist to program it, going to a new job, a new spouse, and hoping that's the next solution. What's the cost for staying inside the cycle, getting triggered again, not mastering your triggers, not mastering the stories, not creating a new reality? What is the cost for staying stuck inside of your life? Your life. What's the cost in your relationship with yourself, your connection and spirituality to yourself? What's the cost on your spouse, on your kids? What's the impact on them? How does it impact them that they don't have a father or mother that's showing up fully and present for them? How does that affect them? How? What about your future kids, or the future people that are waiting for you, or the future spouse that's waiting for you? It impacts that and your relationships with other people. And you. It's time to get real with yourself and finally make the change that you deserve to create the life that you want, that I know is waiting for you and that you know is waiting for you. Because you're not stuck where you are. This desired reality is possible if you want it. And if you want it again, it's time to click below, schedule a call with me. I'm going to help you. I want to help you. I know I can help you. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
I just had a 90-minute session with Patrick Jones, which was amazing. I came to Patrick at the time when I really needed help. I was binging. I was in one of those binge cycles, if people are familiar, where it just feels like endless, like you can't even get through the day every single night. One of the biggest things that Patrick made me realize is that I was stuck in having a story. I would say in working with him, it's super personable. He is so enthusiastic and positive. I never felt weird sharing, being open and honest with him because he's gone through everything. So I wouldn't hesitate in reaching out to him. He has a lot of valuable information. He's done it all, and he's really passionate about what he does.
How did this program help you stop binge eating?
I would say so you give us tools, and in those tools, it's like literally step by step.
Yeah.
Where you get to look at your thought process. And before joining your program, like I knew about this, like I was really familiar with it, and I've read books about it. But I think you did the work for yourself, where you had it just the complete package, where it's the process from start to beginning. Yeah. You've done it. Yeah. Tool that you provided for me from start to beginning basically sealed the deal, because every single time I had the urge, I did the process and it resolved the issue. And then the more I did it, the more that's when you're like literally changing that habit, changing your mind.
Another thing I really am hopeful for the future is that I'll be able to take everything that I've learned from Patrick, turn around and help somebody else. I know that there are a lot of you out there that are struggling. It feels like you're living in a nightmare that you're never going to be able to escape, but I promise you, you can.
I was looking on Facebook and I ran into a video that Patrick had posted, and I watched it, and it said a lot to me. It was me. He gave me a lot of things that really opened my eyes, a lot of lies that I had been telling myself. He's amazing. He's changed my life, and it's just wonderful. If you struggle with binge eating, he's the guy to go to.